Well, now it's official. I was gonna make a video about the Dragonspine and like the ultimate team for going in the mountains and melting everything and being safe. And well, I just accidentally got C6 Xinyan. I had a couple of the star glitters left over, some of these bad boys, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do one little quick wish. I should have done it on stream because then it would be way more hype, but uh yeah, I just maxed out this on my 4-star only account. I think I'm gonna maybe make her my main DPS? I don't know. This gives her a whole bunch of bonus damage. We'll talk about that later. I'm not sure what to do. C6? This changes everything. Now, this is gonna be my team of Xinyan, Razer, Xiangling, and Bennett. But I know that not everyone has all of these characters. So I'm going to throw you some different characters to throw into the mix if you don't have these ones. But I'm going to go with this one and really double down on the fire. And I want to explain why each one is going to be so good. And we're going to start with Xinyan. Now, obviously, I've got a C6 Xinyan. She's cracked. This is the power of wishing on one banner, right? We've got a C6 Xiangling. We've got some Razer constellations. I wish we had him maxed. But we've got a bunch of Xinyan constellations here. So she's going to be super valuable, but I'm using her predominantly as a support in this situation. Now, the reason why is built into her base talents as well as her constellation. So the first one is this one right here. When you use your E ability, it's going to provide a shield. And with her level 20 passive, it requires one less enemy to get a higher tier shield. And it means that if you just run up and hit one enemy, you're going to get a really beefy shield. But if you hit two enemies, you're going to get a huge shield that also pulses with pyro. So if there's any enemies trying to rush you, you're going to be melting them, you're going to be hitting them really hard, you're going to be taking out their shields passively, which is great. And then there's this one right here. This character, when she pops her shield, is going to provide a 15% physical damage boost to other characters. Now, my main DPS is Razer, so once I pop that shield, especially if I pop a big one, all of a sudden I've got a 15% boost to Razer's damage. That is incredible because most of his damage is physical. Now, in her constellations, this is where she gets really nutty. On the second constellation, when she pops her Q ability, she gets a maxed out shield that's going to be pulsing and doing those hits of damage, but also buffing Razer. Now, I can alternate between my E ability and my Q ability, and I'm going to be always pretty much shielded with fire. So if this is able to block the cold debuff that's going to be happening in the new region, I should have essentially immunity with Xinyan. Even if you don't have C6, at C2, if this works, I'm not 100% yet, this would be incredible. Now, on C4, this is where things really ramp up and make her valuable for my Razer. When she uses her E ability, it's going to reduce the physical resistances of the enemies that it hits. And so this is going to buff Razer further, or even buff herself if I leave her out on the field. Very, very excited about that. Now, I really like having Razer on this as an electric DPS because he can do a couple of things. Number one is if there are a bunch of cryo enemies, there's a good chance that Razer is going to superconduct them. That means that their defenses, their physical defenses, are going to be dropping, meaning he's just going to naturally do more damage in this region to pretty much everything. And if I could strip the shields away with some of my fire characters, that means that Razer is open to run and gun and absolutely destroy everything in his path. There's nothing too special in here, like in his talents or abilities, that I really need to mention, other than Razer's going to be cracked. I'm excited. He's going to be a great DPS. Now, Xiangling is going to be awesome as well. There's nothing major in her constellations. There's nothing in her talents that are going to, like, be a huge game changer other than maybe this attack bonus once you use Gooba. But Xiangling is just there to do some damage. She's there to hit hard. She's there to take some names. She's there to peel off any cryo shields that might be around. But the other thing is she has a lot of physical DPS. I've got the Crescent Pike on her because I use her as one of my main DPS. And yes, I could build her as a support, but here are my thoughts. If I mess up, if I take too much damage, if I need someone to finish off an enemy when Razer's low, I'm still going to get all the buffs from Xinyan, who's giving me all of those beautiful debuffs for physical damage or buffs to physical damage, and Xinyan can be kind of my backup DPS as well as support. And I'm really excited to try this out. I think it's going to be pretty powerful. When she pops her Q, when she pops her E, it hits really hard, even though she's more spec'd for physical damage. And then we got our boy Bennett. Now, I need to get some of these talents up. I'm going to keep ascending him and get some of these up, but Bennett is going to be our main healer. Even when you don't invest in Bennett, he's one of the best healers in the game, and he also consistently applies like the pyro, not debuff, but the pyro element to you. And so if being applied with that pyro will reduce the cold meter, I could see him being very valuable. You pop it, you stand in it, you warm up. I'm really hoping that works. I don't know for sure. If nothing else, if my HP is getting low, he's going to be topping things up to 70%, and I can take advantage of some things like the Berserker sets on my characters, but I think that Bennett is just an overall great healer. But again, if you don't have Bennett, it's not going to be the end of the world. You could throw in a Diona. If you've got Xinyan, right? If you got Xinyan, I did a whole video on this yesterday. Her shield allows you to use Barbara even when there's cryo going out. It blocks the cryo. The shield is a fire shield. It instantly cancels it. And so you can have Barbara out on the field healing and making everyone wet, but they won't actually freeze as long as that shield is up. So there are some options for healers. Obviously, if you had someone like Chi-Chi, use Chi-Chi. Like no problem. But I think for right now, with these characters, it is going to be one of the best combos out there. And if you wanted to make some adjustments, you've got that D-Luke, you do your thing. If you've got Venti and you want to just use a couple of fire characters, do your thing, right? If you've got Klee, oh my god, she's going to be cracked out there. She's going to be absolutely cracked. Maybe make her your main DPS. There are so many options, but I wanted to show off this team because I'm guessing that you have maybe a couple of these characters and you can start throwing them in. I think that Xinyan has rapidly become one of my favorite characters, and so I'm not going to lie, getting that C6, I'm pretty pumped. I just don't know, like, should I make the white blind for her? Because I have the white blind. That's the thing, is I can make it. I've got the prototype right here. I've been saving one. And so I could make a white blind on her and almost make her like a secondary DPS, or I could just keep her as a support. I don't really know. I also have C6 Xiangling, and I kind of want to use the new Claymore on him. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll get a prototype. I don't really know. We'll have to see. But what are your thoughts? Do I make C6 Xinyan a main DPS? Maybe I do it for the video, just for the memes. We'll see. So as soon as I ended the video, I started kind of testing, and I was like, hold on a second. I think Xinyan might be able to be made into a main DPS here. And this is really interesting because a lot of her damage is just from physical, and so you know, you can get in there, you can pop this shield, but then you're getting this increased physical damage. And with that C6, it reduces the stamina of her charge attack, and she spins to win, right? But also, you're getting 50% of your defense. And so even if you're not building for defense and you're building for sheer damage, if you get any of those pieces that have just like a little defense on it, that's going to be great. It's not going to be wasted. But on top of that, you can give her like a pretty big boost to damage by using the Defender's Will. So the Defender Will artifact, a 2-piece set, gives you 30% defense bonus. So she's going to be really tanky compared to other characters. But then on top of that, you're going to get 50% of that bonus, or of that defense as bonus attack. And so what ends up happening is, like, even if you are using like a prototype Amethyst and you're getting a bunch of attack, the base amount of damage you get from defense is pretty insane. And I honestly think she might be one of the better DPS, because the thing is you run in, you pop the shield, and then you can just spin, right? And you spin to win, and no one's going to knock you out of this or hit you. And then when that's done, you can pop this. It automatically crits. So if you stack a ton of damage, it crits. And then you're back into this, right? And then this shield runs out, and you pop it again. It's not necessarily like Razer getting the attack speed, but you can chain these shields and be insanely safe the entire time. So I think I'm going to test this today. I'm going to make a whole video on this, but I guess I wanted to add this in here because this is kind of nutty.